Hello and welcome to What Lingers, the podcast where we uncover the questions behind people's stories. I am Christian Figueroa.
And I'm Liz Melkor. Together, we're the team behind Storytelling Lisboa, where once a month, 10 storytellers get on stage in front of 200 people and share true personal stories around a theme.
It's always an incredible night, but there is a catch. We always have lingering questions for the storytellers.
In our podcast, What Lingers, we get the answers. In our third season, we jump right in and take you back to that stage. You'll hear the original story told that night.
Then, we sit down with the storyteller for a deeper conversation to explore what lingers for all of us.
Just a quick note, since these recordings are from the actual stage, the audio might be a bit raw.
Okay, so let's get into it.
When I saw the topic of tonight, pretend, I thought, oh my God, this is it. Like, this is what I've been doing all my life, basically. This is, if I don't know much about anything, but if I know about something, it's definitely about pretending. And I think pretending is it's an art. It's not earned. It's kind of like an art that you have to develop over the time. So I think my first big pretending, my first big show or impersonation started all over in 2014. I'm Peruvian, hablo español. Yes! Okay, I don't think there's any Peruvian, so stop pretending, guys. I know the topic is pretending, but back then I was only 14 and I was living in a very small conservative town. And I come from a family that is very Catholic, and I was studying in a private Catholic all-girls school. You know, your typical type of profile that does storytelling, right? So when I was very, very young, pretending was more like a survival mode for me, because I had to pretend every single day when being asked, have you seen the latest Justin Bieber shirtless photos? And kind of say like, yeah, I think I love him. Or whenever they ask like, are you team Jacob or team Edward? And I was like, yes, I mean, who's like the guy that is like shirtless all the time? Maybe that one. But in reality, it was clear for me from the beginning that I was actually team Bella. Yes, it's like, that's my people right there. I can see you. And so it was very, very important for me to cover this up, because it's not very, even till this day, 2024, it's not well seen especially in my city. But anyway, let's go back to pretending, and let's go back to Team Bella. I was Team Bella, and then suddenly I was also Team Rafaela, and I was also Team Carla, and I was also Team Gabriela, and I was like, shout out to Gabriela, by the way, my friend's here. And I was Team everyone in my all-girls private school classroom. And of course, I don't mean to sound like a fuck girl, but somehow at 14, when all of you are girls, there are no boys around, and you need to learn how to kiss, of course they're gonna choose me to practice. I was so happy. Of course, I had a great time. Until... And it was all about pretending, because, you know, like, we have to kiss, and then, like, did it right? And I had to pretend like, oh, yeah. I didn't feel anything at all. Like, no butterflies or anything. So at one point, the pretending has to fell off. And that happened when this girl, we're gonna call her Rafaela for the story purposes, and me start kissing and practicing every day after recess in the music room. And it felt like, even though it was an empty music room, I could hear the angels singing. It was everything I wanted and more. I really fell in love with this girl, even though she kind of like also fell in love with me, but not as much as me, I believe. And we start talking every day on the phone. She come to my house. I went to her house. We pretend to watch One Direction YouTube videos and kind of like, somehow it ended up in kissing session, of course. And we start doing it more often, also like in the bathroom or like after class. So one time, what happened was that we were kissing in the bathroom and a little girl, I think she was, 10 years old, came in. And my whole world changed from that moment. I could hear my heartbeat pounding so fast, and the look on her face was so scared. I immediately knew that I fucked up. So of course the next thing that I know is the little girl told the teacher, and the teacher told the principal and the director and everything, and even the priest of the school somehow knew. And I don't know if you're familiar with interrogations. I hope you're not, first of all, because of course it will require you to do a crime, but I hope you're not familiar. But if you're not familiar with it, what they do when there are two people involved is they separate these two people into a room and ask them the exact same questions at the same time to see who's lying and who's telling the truth, and who's gonna save their own ass and who's gonna take the bullet. And of course I was so in love. Of course I was about to save Rafaela, because why wouldn't I? So I immediately told the truth, like, yes, because they asked, why, what are you doing? Like, why would you do this? This is so against God and everything that we teach every day. So of course I said the truth, that I was so in love, that whenever I kissed her, it felt like I was closer to God, actually. And I opened up my heart. And then when I came out of the room, I knew I took the bullet. And I knew she saved for us. And I got expelled. After that, my mom kicked me out of the house, which was probably the most terrifying period of my life. I had no phone, no Wi-Fi, and I went living with my grandma in her little tiny house. I was so scared. And of course, I immediately started pretending more. The survival mode went 100% on. My mom somehow got me, I was expelled like in the middle of the year, so I thought I was gonna just not go to university or something. But my mom somehow moved her influences and got me to another school, this time with guys, don't worry. She made sure of that it was not only girls. And I had to pretend that I was straight every day, even though people knew, because it's a small town and the bullying was like so hard. But I pretend so hard, I got myself a boyfriend. And it was amazing. He was like my brother. I'm so sorry. And it feels so sad because I could really tell that he actually wanted to marry, because we get married there at a very early age, but I knew that it wasn't for me. So it was very hard every day to keep putting the mask on. But at the end, I had to tell him the truth. And I tell him the truth, and then somehow I am here. Imagine my life if I wouldn't stop pretending. I think that first of all, I wouldn't be in Lisbon. I would probably be still in Peru with him and like, I don't know, maybe with kids. But for sure, I wouldn't be happy. Right now, I'm so happy. I'm super glad to tell you that I'm not pretending this anymore. Even though right now I am pretending. Like, look at my outfit. I am pretending to be corporate girly, of course. But I am not pretending anymore, and I am not hiding anymore. My girlfriend is not here, but they are recording this video for her. I have this amazing girlfriend, but most importantly, I think I'm free. And I feel that no one can take the freedom out of you. If you're pretending on anything that you're pretending, if you're pretending to speak Portuguese in a padaria portuguesa at 9 a.m., that's great. If you're pretending to be a corporate body, amazing. You go, girl. Everybody is kind of pretending. We are all pretending. But just remember that you shouldn't pretend to convince anyone else about anything. You should only pretend when it's not about your identity. So, thank you.
Vanessa, thank you so much and welcome to What Lingers. We're so happy to have you. We know you from the stage on Storytelling Lisboa, but from people listening at home, would you mind introducing yourself?
Yes, sure. Oh my God. So my name is Vanessa. I'm 25 years old, still Gen Z. I'm from Peru. Currently, I am based in my hometown, in my home country, something that I haven't been able to do in like almost 3 years, I believe. So that's really nice to reconnect to where you actually come from. I've been working in venture capital. What else? I'm a super LGBTQ plus community advocate, and that's something that I'm super proud of to be able to do now because I wasn't able to be so open about it during my youth years.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a really good segue into talking about your story. Your story completely touched me, and I know it definitely touched Christian, and Christian probably has some overlap also growing up in Latin America. But okay, I'm actually going to start with a silly question because, okay, you're Gen Z, I'm a millennial.
Oh my
but
God.
I'm old, but I'm an old millennial. I'm like almost Gen X. I'm like anciently old. But okay, so when you were talking,
Girl, you're still millennial. Come on.
okay, but when you were talking about Team Jacob or Edward, but you were actually Team Bella, you actually have to give me like what TV show that is from.
Oh my god, that's so sweet.
Yes. Oh my God. I remember saying that on the stage, and there were like half of the people were like, "Oh my God," laughing because they knew the reference, and the other half were like, "Who are these guys?" Like, this is a reference to Twilight, the Twilight series. It's about vampires, and back then, Edward was being played by I forgot the name, Robert Pattinson. So he was like a massive crush for all the girls. Jacob was Taylor Lautner, who's also a massive crush for every Gen Z, every Gen X, every millennial, I think. Even my mom is in love with him. And Bella was played by Kristen Stewart. So for me to see her was kind of like a gay awakening because I was like, everybody was like fighting. Oh, I like Robert so much. And the other half was like, oh, I love Taylor Lautner so much. And I was in the middle, just, girls, have you realized about like the girl on the screen? Like her face is perfect. And nobody used to get that feeling. I had to kind of keep it close also because I was in a very conservative environment, so it was like very, very difficult to talk openly about this type of feelings.
And did you know? Were you like almost self-curious at that point in time? Okay, why do I like Bella and I'm like not into these other guys?
Although I called this my first gay awakening because I was already more mature, I definitely felt, even in my youngest years, I'm talking back when I was like, I don't know, like less than 10 years old, I already felt some sort of attraction towards women. For example, I remember at like Hannah Montana, Miley Cyrus on the TV, and I was like, oh my God, I love this girl. And it was like, there's a blur line between I admire this girl, I want to be like her, or I actually want to kiss her. And it's like a very blurry line when you're growing up. Like I always feel like there's something wrong, or there's like a piece that is like missing in this puzzle about how I felt towards these characters. But then it all makes sense. I solved the problem. I solved the puzzle, and I accept myself. And first, I had to hide. I had to pretend.
So in that sense, I'm wondering because I'm also a queer man, gay man. I grew up in Colombia, and I can relate to your story so much.
Colombia. Let's
Yes.
go.
I love that you said like yo hablo español, and that's so
Yo hablo
cute.
Colombia.
But it's so interesting how from an early age we get all these cues, like social cues already, that we don't know what we are, we don't know exactly what we are, but we already know it's wrong. So we have to hide it, and the lies and everything. So I'm wondering, would you mind sharing a little bit how was your household growing up in this little town? what the hints that you have that, okay, my existence is wrong already? And one simple example I had, my dad used to make like very nasty homophobic jokes on the table or all the time. And even though like I didn't know what I was gay when I was like 9 or 10, I knew that being gay was wrong and being gay was bad in my family. So I'm wondering if you had this similar experience with your mom.
Yeah, definitely. I live in a very religious household. Like religion is part of everyday's lives. And they are always saying there's Adam and there's Eve and there's nothing else. There shouldn't be, this is against God's law, so in a sort of way. And that was also, that message was reinforced when I was in the classroom, for example. I was lucky enough to not have very extreme homophobic comments. But yes, for example, like I had a little brother. I remember one time he was wearing like a pink t-shirt, just normal pink t-shirt. And my dad got super mad at him. He was like, boys don't wear pink. What are you doing? Who bought you that t-shirt? And he said, oh, my uncle gave it to me. You don't have to use it because boys don't wear pink. And I was like, what the hell? When I was so into football and I really wanted to get into a football club, take it as a hobby, pick it as a hobby. And my mom would say things like, you want to do that? Girls don't do football. And she was like, I don't know what will be the translation, but I think that's a sport for dykes. That will be the translation. Yeah. But then when I grew up and I went into the university, I actually made my dream came true and I joined the women's football club.
Yes, that's amazing.
Yes.
I went ahead and I did it. But growing up, I couldn't. You're supposed to play volleyball. You're supposed to do like ballet. And I was like, I don't care about ballet.
Yeah.
What the hell?
It's so crazy how much the world has changed, and then also how in some ways it just hasn't changed. And it really does
Yeah.
depend, like in the community you grow up in, but luckily I think it's changing more and people are having to pretend less and less. But I'm wondering if we can go back to the story, to like the meat of the story, which is when you start to practice kissing with all your friends, with all the women in school.
Of course.
But then specifically, can you tell us, do you remember the first time the practice session happened and like how it came about, or?
Yeah, oh, of course, I remember this. We were already having some sort of attraction that it happens sometimes. And I remember going to the bathroom. And I remember this girl saying, hey, can I also go to the bathroom, professor? And I was walking, but I didn't look back. But I knew that she was like following me. But I was like, are we gonna kiss or no? Because we had the friction already. We had the staring sometimes at PE classes and things like that. And I remember like just pretending to wash my hands so I won't miss her. Then like she enters the room. Then I look back and I said like, "Hey, I didn't know you were coming too." And she was like, "Yeah, no, I've been feeling like weird lately about things." And I was like, "Yeah, tell me more. What do you mean?" And then no answer. We like because we were talking like so closely, and then it was like we kissed.
Oh, I can feel the tension.
Yeah, the tension was, and remember, we were like super young, and it was the first time I was like, oh, what the fuck just happened? But I feel attracted to this girl, so for me, it was like amazing.
This was that you dated?
No, no, this was not Rafaela, but it was another one. I never dated this girl, but she was like the first time. Yeah.
She was the first practice. And then did you guys talk about the kiss afterwards, or was it just like,
I mean, no, we didn't.
let's pretend it didn't happen?
Yeah, let's just pretend it never happened. Again, the pretending is super funny. What's funny? I had my 9th year reunion like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
Okay, give us stories. Give us stories.
And somehow I got invited to it because I was like, I'm not getting an invitation to it because I got a spell. I went there and it was like, oh my God. Like seeing all these faces, like a lot of things. The girl that I dated, she wasn't there.
Rafaela.
We call her Rafaela in the story.
We call her
yeah.
Rafaela.
Yeah, we call her
We call her
Rafaela.
Rafaela. Yeah, because but she's in Paris right now. And she wasn't there, but it was amazing. Somehow at the end of the reunion, there was some tequila, and then we were doing Never Have I Ever. And then they said, never have I ever kissed Vanessa. I was like, no, none of them here. Thank God. And then the girl that was like right next to me drinks. And I was like, what the like, why you drink? And she said, you don't remember? And then I was like, oh my God, yes.
Vanessa.
Oh my God.
And I felt like a fat girl right there. I felt like super bad. I'm
It's
sorry.
been
I thought,
ages.
yeah, it's been ages. And I said, like, I'm so sorry. I just remember. I'm so sorry. And she was like, I've never kissed any other girl. Like she was like offended by the fact that I didn't remember. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
It totally, I was just gonna say, it stood out for her, but for you, you're like, I've gone on to kiss many more. But so you got to see all these women that you had gone to school with before. And I know that in your story, you talked about if I hadn't pretended, or if I hadn't been able to basically say my truth and be myself, I might not be in Lisbon. I might be still living in my small town in Peru, maybe with a couple of children.
Yeah.
And so was seeing a lot of your old high school friends, was that sort of where they were at? And then were you able to fully not pretend with them, and did you feel accepted?
I feel way better because nowadays I'm super open about it in my Instagram. So they all know now that I'm talking about it openly and they actually embrace it. For example, in the Never Have I Ever gave, they were like, never have I ever like another woman. And of course they were looking at me and I was like, hi, yeah, you're making me drink and you're not gonna drink. And none of them drink because they're straight. The ones that were there, they're straight. And yes, what you were saying, like, for example, one of them, not, she was not drinking for sure, but she's pregnant. And I was like, that could have been me if I wasn't brave enough to speak openly about who I was.
I was wondering if it took you a little time from that whole incident in your old school to be open, or did you go already like to the new school and be like, you know what, this is me? Like at 15, everyone throw me out of the closet, because that happened to me a little bit, and it still I resisted the path.
Really?
Like years and years.
What's your story? No, Christian, now I want you to tell me like the very short version of your story.
Please, please, we want to know.
Yes,
this.
we want to know. This is about stories.
Yeah, I actually told it. I told the storytelling Lisboa, because I dated like many girls during my teenage years, but then when I was in uni and I was already like 17, I dated like the last girl. And I think she was dating me only to figure out if I was gay or not. Like a couple of friends, they got together and they sent her as a spy to date me. And of course, we never had sex. And then the next day, she tried to have sex with me. I didn't want it to. So the next day after that, like the whole university knew that I didn't wanted to have sex with this girl, and the rumors start to spread. Gay, Christian is might not gay. Like I didn't even say anything, yes or no. I didn't confirm, and it took me like probably 2 or 3 years later from that incident to actually come out as gay. So I kind of resisted that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was traumatic. It was really intense.
The fact that they like planned this whole thing to send someone just to confirm it. Who are these guys? Oh my God.
Yeah, in Colombia.
Yeah, people can be so cruel. It's like shocking to me. But you talked about that. You said that there was a lot of bullying going on for you. Was that in the new school or?
No, the bullying was mostly on the Catholic school. I feel like for me, going into the new school was like a fresh start somehow. Like a fresh start. I was like the new girl in this boys and girls school. And of course, all of them knew the reason why I was there. Like the two schools are less than 1 kilometer apart. Like, of course, they knew. Um, but I followed the same path as Christian. I was like, no comments. Like, I know that you're talking about me behind my back, but I'm not gonna deny or accept anything. But there was this guy that kind of felt attracted to me. He asked me that one time, do you like only girls? And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? I don't like girls. Like, always at first, my first instinct to this question was like, deny. And then I thought, like, maybe I could date him and pretend that I'm straight. And I dated him for a month or something. And then I was like, during that time, of course, I didn't feel like me. And then there was this other guy that was like really flirting me, leaving like chocolates in my table, like sending like little notes. And I kind of fell for it. And I'm not gonna lie, like today I identify as a lesbian. Back then I was still figuring out. I don't think that uh sexuality should be something like static, and for me has been fluid all the time. I have never been able to say that I'm straight, but yes, I've been bisexual because I had this one relationship with this guy that it was 2 years, and my mom was super happy about it. So of course I had feelings, but then at the end I acknowledge it. Well, I really see myself because he started talking about marriage and he started talking about kids. Because here you start talking about that earlier than in Europe. And that's when it hit me like a wall. Am I making this guy that I think is an awesome person? Am I making him losing his youth over someone that is not sure about putting a ring on and getting pregnant? So I had to acknowledge that. And I did it in the most chaotic way. So here's another
Okay,
story.
tell. Like chaotic. That sounds good.
No names
No
because, of
names.
course, but we were supposed to have this experience, work and travel. So you apply to an agency to go to the United States and kind of work in like hospitality, restaurant, like this type of jobs, positions. So we did the whole thing application together. My mom was super happy because she was like, yes, Vanessa's not gay anymore. She's going to the United States with this guy. And I love him and I love his family. So we had everything ready. I had already the visa, the employment contract. We had already the house, everything. We are in the international airport. We are 1 hour from the flight to Park City, to Utah. And I couldn't anymore because I knew that when we are there, I was gonna pretend to be, I don't know, like a housewife, like someone, this character that I was convincing myself to play. So we were in the duty free, I think we were looking at perfumes or something. And I just said, hey, I don't think I'm gonna board the plane. And he looked at me straight in the eye, dead eye. He was like, what? His first reaction was like, if it's because of the fights, we can work on it, we can do something about it, we can change, I can improve my behavior, things like that, or improve our communication. And I was like, it's not about that.
This is not about you.
It's not about you. And he knew perfectly because, for example, we were like having in the country club and there was this girl coming in bikini from of the pool, and I would look at her and he would look at me and he would say, do you like her? And I would be like, yes, I like her. So he knew, he already knew throughout these 2 years of relationship. And going back to the airport, I said to him, it's not you. And he said, it's about the thing.
Oh, wow.
Like he wasn't even able to say it out loud.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean, wait, he said it's about the thing?
Yeah.
That's what he said? And he meant, okay.
Like your
okay.
whole history
He
of
meant that.
out of the school.
And I said, yes, it's about it. And I don't feel like I should go there with you to feed this story, this narrative anymore, this relationship, because I feel like it's better if you just break up. And I was like, this is the perfect time because you're gonna go, we're gonna be apart, we're not gonna be in the same city. And I'm just gonna use this time to refocus on myself and what I actually want for my romantic life, because it's not about you. I feel like you will be the best life partner a girl could ever ask for. And he was heartbroken about that. I was heartbroken about that. And he said, you know what? I can't understand. Also, the relationship was already like wearing out. So it wasn't very hard. But till the very last moment, he was like, think about it. What are you doing? Like his brother calls me in the middle of the airport and says, hey, like I just received a text from my little brother. He's crying. You've been planning this for 6 months already. My mom calls me and she's, what are you doing? We invested so much in this whole thing because we paid the housing already. She said, we're not getting anything back if you don't board that plane. I was under so much pressure at that time. I was crying. I was like, also even like anxious because I was like, am I the villain in this story? And that was it. I just didn't get into the plane. He went ultimately, and I just remember like carrying my suitcase and all the way out, all the way to the exit. And I was like, did I just like ruin someone's life? Not mine. But I was like having so many feelings. Again, the perception that I was disappointing my parents, now just not in terms of she's gay again or something like that, but also like financially, I was disappointing also like his family that became so close to me over the 2 years. And then I start crying because of all these feelings. But at the end, when I came back to my home city, I just had this sense of peace.
How old were you when do you remember?
I was, I think, 19,
Mm, yeah.
maybe.
It's like almost cinematic, right? It's like out of a movie. The stakes become so high. In saying no to him, you did also say no to a new experience for yourself, which would have been like going to America and having this new work experience and all of that. But you found this comfort in, like, you were saying yes to that deep inner part of you and saying no to the pretending, which is like what your story is about.
Yeah, because I was so excited about the trip as well. Even till today, I've never been to America. So I was so excited to go and do that. But I had to take a decision at the end, and a very scary one. And I ended up choosing what I felt was maybe the worst timing ever, but it felt necessary. Like I couldn't keep wasting his time. I couldn't keep trying to fill these shoes that didn't feel like my shoes. I don't want to be a stay at home mom. I want to make my own money. I want to go into finance. I want to travel the world.
Yeah. Listening to your whole story, of course, it's such a mirror for me in a different way, of course, but I'm just thinking about the amount of trauma. And this is, of course, something that nowadays is widely openly discussed in psychology and other areas of mental health because the queer community holds so much trauma in these very important years that people don't take this like a serious thing. Like we actually like all these things that you happen from the school, from ending up with broken up with Rafaela and your mom
Yeah.
kicking you out of the house. This is really a lot. And then at the end, like listening to your story, at the end of the day, we think this is our fault and our responsibility. And we cannot forget that this is a construct in society. It is not everything that happens, it's our fault because I hear you talking about this whole experience and it feels like it's very heavy and guilty. And I do have a story like that because I also dated a girl, I broke her heart and everything. And I've been putting myself in that place
Yeah.
of,
And you carry that.
yeah, you carry with that. And then you forget, wait, if I wouldn't be in this society or in this family, I wouldn't have done any of this. I was doing this because I was pushed and pushed to do this. So I just want to bring this to the acknowledgement for people listening at home and for younger generations probably that are listening to the episode. And it's like, this is not only on your shoulders because this is a structural problem. And it's very easy for us to blame ourselves about it. I'm wondering if you had someone who helped you through all this process of you becoming yourself, getting out of the closet and everything, because I feel like it's not talked enough. Like we also should ask for help. Like queer people should get help, therapy, or someone to talk to because I've talked to a couple of Gen Z from your generation that also experienced this and they're all doing it on their own still in 2025 and that breaks my heart because it's so much harder, it's so much difficult. So I'm wondering, were you able to ask for help?
Yeah, I feel I don't have many regrets in my life, but I feel like if I had one regret is the fact that I never reach out for any type of help. Not only because of mostly at first when I was like growing up, 15 something, I didn't know that there could be help out there. I didn't know there are communities, there are resources, there are people specialized on giving support in these specific situations. Um, I feel like if I had to change something in my life, that would be to ask for help because I had this horrible aftertaste because they sent me, I don't know if I shared this with you, but my parents sent me into psychologist, but it was more like conversion therapy.
Oh,
Ugh,
Jesus
God.
And I
Christ.
had this really bitter aftertaste about psychology services and therapy overall.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I felt like I couldn't trust that. But then growing up, thank God, when I was 23, I started therapy again, thanks to my university. It helped a lot because I had all these kind of like scars that were not properly healed. And we reopened these wounds to make sure that they won't bleed again.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a transforming experience. And it also gave me the ability to trust into psychologists again. I was like, hey, actually, they're not so bad. They are actually good. Right now, I also have a psychologist here in my hometown. He's amazing. He's queer friendly as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's very important for people listening at home that, or for us talking here, that it's never too late for help.
Yes,
Because also, you're very young, you're 25 years old, and everything that you lived is that actually going to have an impact for the rest of your life. I always say the sooner the better,
true.
but it's also never too late to reach out. Go to your social services, go to your health system, to your university.
There are so many resources, and a lot of them are even for free, and you don't even know. So, if I had one advice to my 15-year-old self back then, it's like, look for help. You're not alone. You're not an alien. There are other people that are having the same situations as you. You're not isolated. Find community. Even if there isn't in your city, you can find a ton of community online.
Love it.
Changing.
Yeah,
And you sharing your story helps people.
absolutely.
And everything that you say is so completely true. And it reminds me of like one of the points of the story that really stuck out to me. Vanessa, like you seem to have this really strong sense of self and this groundedness in who you are that's really admirable. And so when you were talking about being called into the principal's office or whoever at the Catholic school with the Rafaela incident, I loved when you were like, I'm just gonna tell my truth straight out. And I loved that you said, I felt closer to God when I kissed her. And so there was this part of you that even at that really young age that you, and I love that you could also like still in some ways be connected to like the religion, even though the religion had also been like teaching you that this was bad, but that you could feel God in your love for Rafaela and that you were able to know that and express that. And like, how? And I think maybe there's no answer to that sort of question, but that I just wanted to highlight like that sort of like strength of self.
I feel like this is top three of the quotes that I ever said in my life. Because it's like, for me, it also like, whenever I remember this story, and I remember like being sitting there, and I felt like so small, so small. I felt like I was the tiniest person in the world. But I had the courage to say in front of these guys that they are like one of the most conservative uh, groups inside Catholicism. The audacity, the balls somehow to say, I actually feel when I'm kissing her, I feel closer to God. I have no idea how I was so curious to say that in front of them. I have not, even till this day, I love the fact that I said it. Um, but I don't know how I did that. But even till this day, whenever I fall in love, I'm currently single, by the way. But whenever I fall in love, I I make these connections with religion somehow. I feel like love is a form of a gift that God has given us. Because I feel like animals, yeah, they can love each other, but not as humans. Like even this guy that I broke up 2 years, like when we were like 2 years dating, I still carry some parts of him with me. So I'm like always like thanking God for the people that he brings into my life, even when they destroyed my heart. We have a saying here. I don't know if Christian you have heard of it, but it's like el que ama nunca pierde, which translates to the one who loves never loses. And I always have that in mind. I had a recent breakup that was like chaotic for me at the beginning of the year. And I felt really bad because I was like, why it went wrong? Why did did wrong? There's a greater force that has a greater call for you, a greater plan. It's so funny that the most presence that God has in my life is in my romantic life because it's the ironic of it.
Yeah.
The irony of it. God is so
Yeah.
present in my love life, even though the religion, the monks, and the everybody here is trying to tell me that what I'm doing is wrong. But I feel like He's actually making me love these people.
There is a saying in spirituality that love has everything to do with God, but God has nothing to do with human religions.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. That's the exact quote for it.
I love that quote.
We need to remember that. Yeah, God has nothing to do with religions. Religions are human, and we have to remember that are created by humans with a human mind and has nothing to do with God.
Yeah.
When you told the story, you were in Lisbon and also you were dating. Is this the recent breakup and you were in Lisbon because of your breakup and now you're back in Peru because you broke up with this person? Is that the timeline that is happening?
Yeah. Let's put a name. We cannot say names, right?
Oh, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm happy to share it. Let's call her Camila because she's my best friend. I met her and during her Erasmus exchange. She was in Lisbon. We were the same age. I was like, this is it. Like I felt like I was really gonna marry this girl. I was so happy. But there are like four types of affection, and she had the ev- avoidant one.
Yeah, the attachment styles.
Yeah, the attachment style. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's that one.
For a long time, I was attracted to avoidance.
Oh my God.
That was like hot to me because I was anxious.
I think it was the first time that I actually had the experience of loving an avoidant attachment person. So it was really confusing for me.
And so in the end, I guess it didn't work out, but you mentioned her in your story. You mentioned her and you mentioned that she wasn't there, but you were going to show it to her. So did you show her the story and what was her reaction?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, she loved it. She was like, what the hell? All these things. And how are you able to boldly stand up in a stage in front of all this crowd of strangers and just tell your personal life? And I was just like, because if someone in the crowd can relate to the story, I will be happy. That's the whole purpose of sharing it.
Totally. And I think like we both connected to it. And did anybody come up to you afterwards and tell you that they connected to it?
A lot. Oh my God, I had a lot of DMs. I think I had 5. And then they even start following me on LinkedIn and in Instagram.
Oh, yeah. I remember I wanted to talk to you after the event, but you left early that night, so I couldn't catch you because I wanted to talk to
I
someone.
couldn't.
But
Yeah, I couldn't because I had to.
Yeah, you said something in the story about pretending to be a corporate girl. And I'm wondering, like the whole image, and probably people listening at home, you might be able to watch the video of her story on YouTube soon. You were dressed like with a suit, your hair was like really tied up and everything. And for people listening at home, today we have a very different version of Vanessa in front of us.
Yeah, this is me. This is the real me.
Okay, but were you making a statement with that dress, or is that your work, I don't know, outfit? I'm just curious about that because you mentioned it during the story, like you were pretending to be a corporate girl.
Yeah, definitely. My job back then, that is the one previous to the one that I have right now, was in a very corporate, big Portuguese company. I had to go 4 days a week in suit because everybody else was doing that. So I had to fit in somehow. But now I'm working remotely, and now I even have the chance to work remotely from my terrace. So this is my new outfit every day. This is me. I feel way more me.
Lovely.
And that's great because I feel like you never stop truly getting to know yourself. And now I'm like, this is truly me. I feel so much comfortable wearing colors and wearing pink and florals.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. Liz, I think we have our last question.
Yes, we do. Okay, it's been so cool to talk to you and see you again and see that you're doing so well. And we end every episode with a question. And that question is, how has it been for you to revisit your story today?
Wow. Amazing. What emotional trip right now, because we did not only went into that one, we went into a couple other ones that still have a mark on me. I feel like every story has left an undeniable print into me. It has molded my identity, and I feel really proud to be able to tell it right now from the point of view that I'm telling it right now, because I'm able to see the good side even on the most painful episodes of my life.
That's it for this episode of What Lingers.
If you enjoyed it, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast. It really helps us reach more listeners. And if someone came to mind while you were listening, we'd love for you to share this episode with them.
What Lingers is a podcast from the team behind Storytelling Lisboa, and is produced by both Liz and I, and edited by Liz.
We're a small project, and your support truly motivates us to keep going.
Would also love to hear from you. Feel free to send us a DM or even a voice note with your thoughts, your comments, or questions to our Instagram at WhatLingersPod.
Don't forget to subscribe and follow us so you never miss what lingers next.
Bye!
Bye!